All right, we're back. It's absolutely wonderful outside. It's amazing. I love it. Today we are going to start the Superduty spring swap on this thing. So let's take a walk in the garage and I'll show you what we got going on here. All right, there's a lot of stuff going on here. So these are V codes out of a Superduty. This is the spring that everybody wants for the front of their OBS truck. So we managed to get our hands on a set. These are B codes, which obviously we're going to put in the rear. This is another spring that everybody seems to want. These ride really well and have a pretty decent spring rate. And then these are G codes out of an Excursion, which may look like they're heavier, but they're actually not. But I think what we're going to do, I think we're going to break these down. We're going to take these two lower leafs, clean them all up, make them look new, and then add them to the Bs just to get, you know, that'll give us at least another inch of lift in the rear, because I think we're going to need some. This is going to be an experiment. I don't really know how high it's going to get in the rear, so that's why we're doing the front first. That way we have a, you know, the front is going to be where it is, and then we can adjust the rear to match. So, but yeah, we're going to bust these all down, clean them all up, new anti-friction pads. There's spacers in here. We're going to replace all of them. We're also going to add these, which are a set of helper springs out of Superduty. I got the spacer blocks for them as well. So we'll get all this cleaned up, get new bushings and pads in, get a fresh coat of paint on them, new center pins, etc. Make these things look like new, and then we'll start swapping them into the truck. All right, we got both front springs out here on the cart. You can see I already have this one apart, needle scaled, wire wheeled. Well, they look like they're in good shape, but you'd be surprised. Like the center pin was actually pretty rotted in here. My anti-friction pads were basically toast. This one is in decent shape, but we're gonna make a new one of that anyway, so not a big deal there. So that's about as far as I have to go on this one, so I'm gonna bust this one apart real quick, and then we'll get a coat of paint on these things and we'll start putting them back together. Well, both springs are now stripped, cleaned, and fresh coat of paint. I got one of the rears here, and surprisingly enough, the center pin on this one actually came the nut actually came off, which I was kind of surprised at. So this pin might actually come out. Hey, yeah, there he is. Not in terrible shape either. But anyways, we are going to continue with the disassembly of this pack. I think we're going to replace the bushings and the shackles. They look kind of beat, kind of dry rotted in there. But those shackles look to be way thicker than the ones that come on the OBS trucks, so I'm probably going to reuse that instead of my own. So now it's just a matter of getting this thing the rest of the way apart. There we go. Get all these leaves cleaned up and get a coat of paint on this, and then we'll move on to the next. All right, got most of our springs apart, all cleaned up in various states of primer and paint. Have the other B code rear is out here ready for paint, and now I'm going to rip into these Excursion leaves. They look a little rough, but once we get them apart, we'll pull these two out, get them all needle scale, wire wheeled, and they'll be looking just as good as everything else. So I'm going to grab the impact gun and we'll get that rusty, gross center pin out of there. There's a little trick I figured out over the years. Cut two slots in the nut. Who cares about the center pin? You're going to replace it anyway. But it'll take all the stress off, you know, and then the nut will spin right off, and then we can get this guy out of here. Come on, there we go. Okay, and now I can take my clamps off and spring pack his apart. Piece of cake. Okay, now we are going to, we're not going to use this guy. I think we're going to save those. The Excursions, for whatever reason, get these plates between the leaves. The Superduties don't get that, and I'm going to assume it has something to do with why the Excursions ride so smooth, because you've got that extra little air gap between the leaves. And we're not going to reuse these. I don't have enough of them for my hybrid spring pack anyway, but we're gonna put something in there anyway. I'll show you later. So for now, I'm just gonna take these two leaves and set them down, get them all needle scaled and wire wheeled. Where is she? These things are worth their weight in gold if you don't have one. I'm gonna get these needle scaled, wire wheeled, and then we'll break the other spring pack apart. Okay, all the leaves are cleaned up and all painted, ready to go back together. So that's what I'm going to work on today. I'm going to start putting my rear springs together. So we are going to be replacing all of the old pads. I did find these from Dorman. They claim they're the wrong ones. They say these are for a Chevy, not a Ford, but they sure do look like the right one to me. So we got a million of these to change. This one's actually in pretty good shape, but I'm already here, so that's getting replaced. So we're going to change all those. Now, the Superduty leafs were just spring on spring. The Excursion packs had these spacers in here, and I don't have enough of these because we're adding leaves. We don't have enough of them to go around. But we are going to do something. So Speedway sells, where is roll, spring liners, which is basically just a roll of some form of plastic, feels kind of like Teflon or something, that would go in between your individual leaves. So Ford does this on their front springs. On the Super Duties, they use a plastic liner. That's what these things are, which are all busted up. So I picked up a roll of this. It's 8 foot. It's enough to do a lot of vehicles. So I got a whole million of these cut up already. I kind of set up a jig on the drill press. So the plan is now to simply get all these replaced. We'll grab the extra leaves from the Excursion pack. There's one, there's the other one over there. And we'll start putting them all together. We'll lay these out in between each leaf, and hopefully we'll get this thing all bolted up together. Right, so here's our B code spring pack, completely rebuilt, all new pads, everything ready to go. We have our anti-friction pads made up, which are going to go in between there. But before we throw our center pin in, this is where our Excursion springs are going to come in. These are the 2 leaves that we cleaned up, looking about as good as all the other leaves in the pack anyway. So they're just going to go in there, and then our overload go on the bottom, and that's it. Now we can put this thing together. All right, it's been a couple days since the last video. I have made some changes to the leaf springs, so let me show you what I got going on here. While I was waiting for new center pins for the front leaf springs to come in, which obviously are now assembled, I did some more research and came to the conclusion that I'm actually going to use the steel shims that were in the Excursion pack. Did some research, and it looks like Ford used them in a couple different vehicles, not just Excursions, but so does Chevy and Dodge as well. And it looks primarily like it was an instance where they're going for trying to make the springs ride as best as they can. So, which kind of makes sense why Ford put them in Excursions and not the F250s, because who cares if your pickup truck rides rough in the back end, right? So, but I do, of course. So I've decided that these are probably going to work better than the plastic ones I made, especially because they're a little bit thicker. So it should give the individual leaves a little more room to work. So I decided I'm going to use them. I also, since I had some time, decided to order some of this stuff, which is, it's not really a lubricant, it's basically paint. And I elected to paint all the springs and the shims as well. And I mean, I really should be, it's slippy stuff, but it's also pretty durable. Like, I've been beating these things around and it's holding up really well. So it should be pretty interesting to see. I think it's going to actually hold, the coating's going to actually hold up pretty well on the springs. And it should make a big difference on how they ride. So you can kind of see it in this pack, like I have all the shims in and done, so you can see how much room you actually get between the leaves to let them flex and move. So I'm actually kind of excited. Like, I think this might actually work really well. So now it's just a matter of me grabbing a pair of gloves, because I'm going to get, you can see I'm already getting graphite on my hands. Grab a pair of gloves, and we will throw this last spring together. And then we'll pull the truck up, put the front end up in the air, and start pulling the old leaf springs out. All right, so here we are again. And I may have mentioned this previously, but
This truck actually already has a Superduty Shackle reversal kit installed in it. If you kind of take a look under here, oh, we gotta get over, okay. This hanger, which is difficult to see with the bumper installed, this is actually from PMF Suspension. It's their 2 1/4 inch Superduty Shackle reversal kit. You know, here's their, this is their greasable shackle that it comes with. So, it said this is their 2 1/4 inch kit, but because at the time I was running a 37 inch tire, I used Superduty X Code leaf springs, which give you at least 1 more inch of lift over you know, the more popular V codes that basically everybody else uses. So, you know, now obviously the plan is to take the X's out in favor of the V's, because I kind of want to bring the truck down a little bit and soften the front end up a little bit. Not that the X codes are stiff by any means, but going from, I had the original, I used to have a Sky shackle reversal kit using leaf springs that were correct for this truck, and then I switched it to the PMF kit with the X codes, and there wasn't really any big improvement in ride quality from like the OBS diesel springs to the Superduty X codes. They ride about the same. It was almost no difference. Maybe these were better, but it really wasn't much. So there's obviously plenty of room in the wheel wells, so it doesn't really matter if the front end goes down an inch. There's still plenty of room for the tires. So that's the plan. Anyways, I'm gonna get this thing up in the air. We'll get the front end out. I am also planning on switching over to these. These are Sky's low clearance hangers. They move the spring eye up and forward, which is going to fix the shackle angle. You can kind of see on this truck, the shackle is all but vertical. And we used the Sky parts when we built this thing. This of course has U codes on the front, but we used the Sky parts when we built this one. You can see like that looks way nicer. So those are definitely going on this truck. So should bring the front end down about an inch. I have no idea. I did measure from here to the ground. At least I realize that's not very useful for everybody, but at least it'll give me a baseline, and we'll know how much the front end changed. And then after we get all that done, we'll turn the truck around and we'll tear into the rear, and we'll do it all over again back there. Kind of a nut tight squeeze in here. I think I'm going to take the sway bar and at least unbolt it from the axle. It's not like I need to drop the whole front axle out of here. I just need enough room to get the leaf springs out, and I'm afraid if I don't unbolt the sway bar when I drop the axle down, it's just going to hit the leaves anyway. So I'm going to go grab whatever that is, 17 or something mil maybe, and we'll take that apart. We'll unbolt the sway bar. Hopefully we don't have to touch anything else. We can just unzip the U-bolts at that point, lower the axle down, and drop it away from the leaves. But you know, we'll see. Job would be a lot easier if I actually turn the air compressor on. Okay, let's try this again. Oh god. Okay. How about that? Way easier. Oh, that shock's bad. Yikes. Okay, guess we're ordering front shocks. Okay. Okay, here we go. Leaf springs are out. All right, I thought this was pretty interesting. Out in the junkyard, you may not see the difference, but when you actually directly compare the two springs to one another, you can actually see like the X code has at least 7/8 of an inch more arch to it than these do. Also, whereas this leaf is kind of like 9/16 roughly, this one's 11/16 all the way here in the middle, so full 1/8 inch thicker. And then even when it tapers down, the X code is thicker at this end than the V is. So it's I don't know, it's just interesting to me to see, like, you know, laying there in a junkyard, you really can't tell the difference. But once you get the two up close and next to each other, it's pretty obvious. Like, the X code is a way beefier spring. So yeah, I should be, I'm kind of curious. Like, I think it's going to ride pretty nice with these in the front. So now I just got to get them in. Right, so getting them in means we got to get these on the frame. It comes with a nice bag of hardware, which is convenient because some of these are riveted. Although, as it would turn out, mine are actually all nut and bolt. So shouldn't make the job too terrible. But yeah, I'm going to grab the creeper. We're going to roll under here and see about getting these out. And we'll get this one, get the new guy on the frame. All right, new hangers on the frame, which means we can put our springs in. So this is the shackle that comes from PMF. It comes with their shackle reversal kit. It's the same dimension as the Sky, so it doesn't really matter which one we use. Obviously, I already have these, and they're in great shape, so those are going in. So I'm going to quick throw the bolt in, get that hanging loose, and then we'll go grab the leaf spring and get that in the truck. All right, so it's been like 2 weeks since the last clip, and that's because I screwed up. So let me show you what I did here. This is the shackle from PMF, and this is the stubby shackle from Sky for their 2-inch shackle reversal kits. And at first, you'll notice the bushing is huge, but also so is the bolt size, because PMF upsized this to 3/4, whereas Sky stayed with the factory 5/8. Somehow I never noticed that. So these don't even fit in the low clearance hangers. You can't use it. So I had to kind of make a panic and order from Sky and get a set of their stubby shackles, which cost me some time. Not that we didn't have things to do. We did fix the tailgate on the green one in the meantime. But yeah, I got my shackles now, which means now, today, we can finally put the front suspension in this thing and get this truck back on all fours. Where is it? Right there. I think that's it right there. Yep, there it is. Yep, that's it. No. Right, okay. There. Okay. Okay. Now I gotta get the other side set, and then we can snug these up a little better. I got the sway bar back in. Everything is just loose. We'll get all that when we're going through for the final retorque of the suspension. This is the Sky adjustable track bar. I have it currently set to the length of a stock bar. It should be close enough, so I'm going to throw that in now, and then I guess all that's left is shocks and tires, I suppose. is good enough for now. For shocks, we are going with Bilsteins. These are 5100s, typical 255/75 valving that everybody runs. It's what I have in the front of her Bronco. It's what I have in the front of the big one, although that one's duals, of course, but it's a pretty decent rate. So yeah, I'm gonna see if I can stuff these things in here real quick, and then there should be nothing left to do but put it down on the ground and tighten everything up. Okay, I think that's about all we have to do. Yeah, let's get this thing in the air and put some tires on it. There's not enough room in the driveway with all these vehicles parked here. I think that looks good. It looks like it came down a decent amount. We have to check here. So before we took it all apart, I did measure the truck here, and we were at 43. Now we're at 40. We'll call it 41 3/4. So we went down 1 1/4 inches. So that's not bad. It's, I don't know, I can see the difference. I think it looks good. All right, that is enough for one day. I will come out here tomorrow, tighten everything up in the front end, and then we'll turn the truck around and we'll start ripping the rear apart. It is the very next day. I have been just laying on the creeper, torquing stuff down, and I realized I made a tactical error here. I have been running a Skyjacker drop track bar bracket on this truck for like 20 years because it started out with a 6-inch lift, and you know, I keep lowering the truck and going lower and lower and lower, and now I finally crossed that threshold where it's too big. She's hitting the sway bar. So I'm going to take the sway bar off. I have absolutely out of time before the roundup, so we're just going to take the sway bar off the truck for now. I will try and source a stock track bar bracket, but in the meantime I'm just going to take it off, finish making some final torques for like track bar and stuff, and then we're going to turn it around and just tear into the rear. Okay, I couldn't wait. I took it for a quick spin around the block to see how it would ride with just the front suspension redone. It's incredible. It rides amazing. Even without this sway bar on there, it rides great. But we'll still, I'll get a stock track bar bracket somewhere, and we'll get the sway bar back on. But that's a project for another day. For now, it's time to get the back end of the truck up in the air, and let's get the rear out. Sway bar bushings are actually a lot worse than I thought they were. Yikes. Okay, so sway bar is coming out. All right, axle's down on the ground. Now, we gotta see how much it's gonna suck to get these things apart. See if we can't get these springs out today. Okay, not gonna lie, I was not expecting that to go so easily. This is gonna, oh yeah. Okay, cool. One spring out. That's vintage right there. 20-something-year-old Skyjacker leaves. All right, I'm gonna go get the other one out a while. All right, got this spring out now. I thought this was kind of interesting to see. Not actually all that much difference arch-wise between the two springs. So it's going to be interesting to see. You know, obviously this pack is way heavier, so it's going to be interesting to see where this thing ends up once we get these springs in. All right, today's the day. These leaf springs are going in, and one of the things we have to do first is we have to drill the front spring hanger out. The original springs use a 5/8 inch bolt, and the Super Duties are 18 mil. Now, I don't own an 18 mil drill bit, but I do have a 2332, and as it would turn out, it is basically the same size. Like, see, so that'll be perfect. So I'm going to go make some chips, get these holes drilled out, and then we'll bring these over, get them set in place, and I'll show you the plan for the leaf spring shackles as well, because we have a couple different options there. So I'll be right back, and we'll show you what we're going to do. All right, with the hangers drilled out, we got to talk about leaf spring shackles. So this is a OEM shackle 8096 truck. We could use these, but we have to drill this hole out because the rear spring eye of the Super Duty springs is also bigger. So, but you can go this route. That's how I set up. Actually, I have a set of B codes without all the overloads in the back of the green Bronco, and that's what we did. We just drilled the shackle out, where you reuse the factory one. Alternatively, you can go with this behemoth, which is the just the shackle that, you know, for a Super Duty. You know, it's just, I mean, by comparison, there's no comparison. Like, it's a huge, beefier shock. But there's a couple problems running this one too that you have to overcome. All the bolts for the Super Duties are bigger, so you would have to drill your rear frame hanger out for the larger bolt. But you also, the shackle is so big that you actually have to grind this edge down on a 45. Same thing on this side. It's so big and so bulky because it's bigger bushing that it doesn't even fit in the hanger unless you grind this edge way down. So that's a second option if you want to go that route. Or alternatively, you can go with these. This is the shackle from Sky's Offroad Design, and this is the route we're going to be going. All right, leaf spring is now in. Actually, both are in. Axles on jack stands, and now you can actually see. This is how much the leaf springs flatten out. Just a ride height, which is honestly more than I thought it would, but it's promising. It means you should actually ride pretty good. So I got to go back through. I got to snug everything up right now, and then we're going to climb under here, put the sway bar in, and I'll show you the next issue or hurdle that we have to overcome. Alright, sway bar is now completely reinstalled. So this is our next problem that we have to overcome. You can kind of see my tailpipe. One is you share the same space as the overload. So I did kind of have to knock that off a bit. So since we are only a couple days away from going to the East Coast Bronco Roundup, and I can't get into an exhaust shop, I just bought these stainless well-on 45s, with the plan being that I think I can get this guy welded in here, and then hopefully the pipe can come straight back. I gotta cut these hangers off, but the goal is I can come straight back and then turn out somewhere over here. I don't know. I'm gonna cut these hangers off carefully so I can reuse them, and then we'll figure out how we're gonna make all this fit. All right, I got my hangers cut off and cleaned up just in case I might reuse them. Tailpipe is all trimmed up. So what I'm thinking I'm doing is coming in with this 45 here, and then this, I think I'm this way is gonna go like roughly here, I think. And that's not terrible, actually. That's not terrible. So I gotta get another pair of hands
and get this stuff marked. We'll roll the welder out and see if we can't get this welded up right now. Okay, that'll do. All right, I'm gonna finish welding this. Feed the muffler. That might work. That might work. Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay. Reach. Okay. Cool. I think that'll do it. There she is, back on all fours once more. I think the stance is perfect. Like, ooh, I like it. Okay, well, nothing left to do now but go for a drive. All right. Yeah, I don't know. Whew, this thing rides great. I can't even. It's just soaking up the bumps. It's super smooth. It's well worth it. Still have a couple things we're gonna have to sort out. You can probably tell my steering wheel is super crooked, which was to be expected with the front end going down. But come on, you can focus. It'll be okay. I don't mind. But yeah, we're gonna have to tinker with that. So I will have to get a new. I'm gonna have to get another track bar bracket. I know. Both Sky's Offroad Design and PMF Suspension, they both set like a stock height or stock drop, however you prefer. Track bar mount, so I'll probably order one of theirs just because, you know, I've got parts from both of those guys or companies, and they make great stuff. So we'll get one of them. We'll revisit the front suspension at a later date. That way we can get the sway bar on, because this thing rides great. It rides great, but I can feel it like just a little bit in the turns where it didn't do that before, and I'm sure the sway bar will take care of that. So yeah, I'm super excited, like 100%. This was without a doubt, this was well worth all the headaches that we had. So yeah, I'm just gonna cruise around for a while, you know, and enjoy my plush new ride. And yeah, when we come back, it'll be the East Coast Bronco Roundup, so it should be all sorts of cool stuff. So you know, if you've made it this far, you know, I appreciate it. And have a good one.